Hello, everybody. Welcome here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. So, we're here tonight to do an episode of new prog albums. So, the album I chose, I actually had chosen this one last week, and I just didn't get the chance to put it in. It came home way too late and didn't have a chance to listen to it, and I wouldn't have been able to present much. I was too tired. But this week I'm much better. It's going to be late, but that's fine. I listened to the entire album, did most of my notes and stuff about it, and then decided that it's time to present it. So we have the album called Infinity Parabellum. I think that's how you pronounce it. Infinity Parabellum from a band called Keys. This is a UK band. So the album was released February the 20th, 26, so a little over a month ago now, I guess. It's a kind of a rock, arena rock, hard rock type feel to it, but definitely has some prog in it. There's no doubt about it. That's why I chose it for this episode. It's about 52 minutes in length, so outside of my normal wheelhouse sound, but not too far outside outside of the normal amount that I like. It's on Escape Music, mastered by Dennis Ward and Jake E. So the band consists of Jake E's on vocals, Mark Mangold on synthesizers, organ, keyboards, and polytechnics. And then you have some support from Alex Landenberg on drums and percussion, and Addie Larson also on drums. So basically there are, I believe, 8 tracks. No, I'm wrong. There are 10 tracks on this album. Quite a few, actually. And several fairly lengthy ones. When I say lengthy, like more than 6 minutes. There's like about 4 songs that are a little bit over that 6-minute margin here. So overall, I found this album to be a kind of a mixture of a lot of synthesizers and keyboard sounds, including piano as well, and a lot of heavy guitar riffing, some pretty standard type drums, but also some very speed metal like drums on here too. There's even one song has a bit of a growl on a couple of places. So it does have a fair amount of that metal sound to it, hard rock sound to it, but also driven quite a bit by synthesizers, keyboards, and the occasional piano on here as well. So overall, I did like the album quite a bit. I would probably, if I was going to redo it, I might have done it on the What's New album list, because I think it's a little bit heavier than I originally thought it was. But overall, it still has quite a bit of keyboard sounds and quite a bit of proggy sounds to it as well. So the title track is called Infinity Parabellum, which is the opening song, which I like, as we all know. It starts out with a nice soft piano opening with some background synthesizers and guitars. Very mellow opening to the album. It does pick up some muddled, heavy guitar sound as it goes along. The vocals are again muddled, but a little bit of, sorry, I stuttered that all up. A muddled, middle kind of mid-range sound to it. But not strongly forward, like it's not up front too much. It's kind of in the background a bit. And the next part on it was kind of a little bit of a guitar pickup and becomes a little bit more dominant, a little bit more heavy as the song goes along. The drums are good, fast, with a nice kind of complex sound to them. So it's a pretty decent opening track. The next track up is called Message from the Void, sorry. Nice keyboard synthesizer dominated opening. Yeah, very, very much so. Very heavy guitar riffing on this song, though. Much heavier than the first song. Vocals are a little bit on the high end, but not too forward. They're almost like a screeching. Well, no, I wouldn't say that. They're They're kind of a little bit more of a screaming type, metal type vocals, but not too dominant, so you don't notice them as much. A nice heavy guitar riff that dominates, metal-like, very metal-like actually. Synthesizers got a little proggy-like, get a little bit proggy at points in the song. The solo is milder and not overplayed. They don't go on at length with it. It's just a little bit milder. There's a nice piano part with some synthesizer, quiet part in the middle, and then it becomes more dominant, a little bit faster pace, and a little bit heavier on the synthesizers. This is one of the better tracks on the album as well. Next track up is called Janus. This one starts with a heavy church organ sound opening up. The voice is a kind of a narrative, somebody speaking and telling a bit of a story. It's joined by this heavy drum and heavy metal-like guitar riff that goes on for a fair lengthy time. The solo is a bit, and then a bit of mild to high range vocal parts mixed in with it. And it does get some raspiness in the vocals as it goes along as well. The guitars are very heavy in the background, but continuous, but they're background, so they're not like really dominating the song. I'll put a little bit played back there. It does peter out, or what we would call plateau, and then drops off a bit. It gets a little bit more quieter, but it builds right back up, and then you get this like very heavy metal guitar-like solo, fast-paced, almost a speed-like metal sound to it. Some nice riffing, and the drums are pretty heavy on this track as well. So Janus is the third track. Next track up. So the next 2 or 3 tracks are a little bit less. There's not as much. They're not as long. They're in the 4-minute range, most of them, except for the one in the Van Halen cover one that's in here, which we'll get to. So the next one is called Catapult. Very speed metal, like the drums here. Symphonic keyboards throughout this track. Metal guitar riffing is kicking. Like, it's really good. You got some nice vocals here. Raspy in the mid-range sound. A bit muddled at times, but also a little bit on the bitey side. And then you got this very speed metal-like guitar solo at the end of the song. Quite metal-like, this song. Next up, we got the song called next up is Eruption, which is the cover from the Van Halen Eruption. It's the same song. Very, very similar to it. It's a little bit more muddled, not as clear, not as clean sounding as Van Halen's version, but still pretty damn good. I thought he did an excellent job covering it. Goes into a song called Flamethrower, so much like in Van Halen, where it goes into You Really Got Me. This kind of a little bit goes into Flamethrower, which is a very straightforward metallic guitar riff at the opening of the song. The vocals are strong, harsh, and high, almost a scream. The vocals have a bit of a Scorpion feel to them, and that's just how I've heard it. It just makes me feel like the Scorpions here. I don't really think it sounds all that much like the Scorpions after I listened to it, but it just brought them to mind right away. It's got a nice heavy metal dominated feel to this track. The solo is prominent, strong, and gets a bit less as you get towards the end of the song. So overall, pretty strong song, one of the stronger songs too. There's like 3 or 4 of them that are in the 7 range. Next up is called Lost in Time. Totally different song from the previous song. So you got this kind of really heavy metal-like track, followed by this Lost in Time, which opens with a bit of a prominent keyboard sound with some drums in there, but mild. The vocals are high-end, very muddled, but catchy. The keyboards and the drum-dominated fast-paced track. I would say the keyboard solo, very strong, fast, good and dominant. The keyboard drums are dominant on this track overall, and it's got some nice multi-vocal points or voice parts towards the end of the song. So not nearly as heavy as Flamethrower, but it has a little bit of that metal edge to it as well. The next track, which is called Beautiful World, is the last of the really good songs on the album. It opens with a nice synthesizer opening with a mild low range to medium range vocal sound. So it's almost pastoral at times here. The vocals are higher end and get a little bit more forward as it moves along. A nice keyboard, almost a rainbow-like keyboard solo from something like you might get off of Rainbow Rising. It's got a little bit of that sound to it. And then you have the song then becomes a little bit more subdued towards the back end with a kind of a vocals that are a little bit more raspy. So not nearly as heavy metal like, a little bit more, I would call a little bit more proggy like. So then we move to the final two tracks. When the Night Calls, this is a kind of a slow, low-leveled synthesizer part at the opening with some catchy drum feels, but not dominant. The vocals are poppy-like, more mid-range to a little bit on the high-range side. Some catchy, beefy guitar parts, but not overly beefy. Feels like a power pop ballad. That's what it feels like to me. And the final track on the album, We Fight to Live. This is a pretty decent track to end an album. It's got a deeper, darker feel to the guitar riff. It's in the lower range. Same with the keyboards here. A bit of a growl-like raspy voice part in it. I wouldn't say it's a vocal part. It's like he's talking like he wants that sound in there. And then you have a nice, clear, high range, it's actually very surprisingly clear vocal part here. And then a kind of a multi-heavy voice part through in the kind of background. So it's like people are like almost, I hate to use the word chant because it gives that different feel to it, but there's a bunch of guys kind of singing in the background as he's doing this high range vocals. It's quite good. It's pretty well done. So that's it for this album, which is called Infinity Parabellum from a band called Keys. Thought it was pretty strong. Again, I probably should have maybe done this on What's New instead of on new Prog albums because I don't think it's as proggy as I originally thought it was, but it still has enough prog that it would fit in here fairly well. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of New Prog Albums. We will be back next week. We'll be doing another new Prog album. Hope to see you all then. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to make any comments about the band Keys or about this album, Infinity Parabellum, you're more than welcome to do so. And I will see you all next Thursday night for another new Prog album. Take care.